Sometimes love doesn't show up through grand gestures or dramatic confessions. Often, it appears in something much quieter, the questions a man asks. When a man begins to care deeply, his curiosity changes. He stops asking surface-level questions and starts wanting to understand you on a much deeper level. A man who is falling for you will often ask about your future, what you dream of, where you want to go, and what kind of life you imagine. He may also ask about your past, not to judge it, but to understand the experiences that shaped you. He'll want to know how you feel when you're with him, because your emotional world begins to matter to him. And one of the biggest signs is when he asks what truly makes you happy. Because when a man is genuinely falling in love, he's not just interested in being around you, he's interested in understanding you. When a man begins to develop real feelings for a woman, one of the first things that changes is the level of curiosity he shows toward her life. In the early stages of dating, many conversations stay on the surface. They revolve around safe topics, work, hobbies, movies, or what someone did over the weekend. These conversations are easy and comfortable, but they don't necessarily reveal deep emotional interest. However, when a man starts to feel a stronger emotional connection, his questions begin to shift in a noticeable way. Instead of simply enjoying the moment, he becomes genuinely interested in understanding who you are as a person. He may ask about your passions, what motivates you, what challenges you've overcome, or what truly excites you in life. This type of curiosity usually comes from a deeper emotional investment. It means he is not just attracted to you on a surface level, he wants to know the layers that make you unique. Curiosity is often a strong indicator of emotional involvement because people naturally invest more attention in things that matter to them. When a man is falling in love, your thoughts, opinions, and experiences start to hold real value for him. He doesn't just want to talk, he wants to listen. He may ask follow-up questions, remember details from previous conversations, and bring them up later because they stayed in his mind. Another important sign is that his questions become more personal, but still respectful. For example, he might ask what kind of life you truly want, what lessons you've learned from past relationships, or what makes you feel most fulfilled. These are not questions someone asks casually. They usually come from someone who is trying to understand how you see the world and whether your lives could fit together in a meaningful way. What's interesting is that this curiosity is not about interrogation or control. A man who is emotionally invested doesn't ask questions to judge you or test you. Instead, his questions feel natural and warm. They create space for deeper conversations and emotional connection. You may notice that he pays close attention when you answer, sometimes even reflecting on what you said or sharing his own experiences in return. This kind of exchange creates a sense of emotional intimacy. Many women sometimes overlook this sign because they expect love to appear through dramatic gestures or constant declarations of affection. But often, the early signals of deeper feelings are much quieter. A man asking thoughtful questions, remembering small details, and showing genuine curiosity about your life can be one of the most powerful indicators that he is becoming emotionally invested. In healthy relationships, curiosity is also a foundation for long-term connection. When someone continues to ask about your dreams, your ideas, and your perspective, it shows they value your inner world. It shows they see you not just as a partner to spend time with, but as a person they want to understand deeply. So when you notice a man consistently asking thoughtful questions about your life, your goals, and your experiences, pay attention to the energy behind those questions. Genuine curiosity is rarely accidental. Very often, it's one of the earliest and clearest signs that his feelings for you are growing into something deeper. When a man begins to develop deeper feelings for a woman, one of the most telling changes appears in the way he talks about the future. In the early stages of dating, conversations often stay focused on the present. Plans might revolve around the next weekend, the next dinner, or the next activity together. But when his feelings start growing stronger, his perspective slowly shifts from short-term moments to long-term possibilities. You may notice that he begins asking questions about where you see your life going. He might ask what kind of lifestyle you hope to build, what dreams you still want to pursue, or what your ideal future looks like. These questions are not random. They often come from a place of curiosity about whether your vision of life could align with his. When a man is falling in love, he naturally starts imagining what life could look like if the two of you continued moving forward together. Sometimes this shows up in subtle ways. He might talk about future trips and casually include you in the picture. He might say things like, "You would love this place," or "We should go there one day." These small comments reveal something important happening in his mind. Instead of seeing you as someone who is just part of his current life, he's beginning to see you as someone who could be part of his future experiences as well. Another sign appears when he asks about your long-term goals. For example, he might ask where you want to live someday, what kind of work fulfills you, or what kind of environment makes you happiest. A man who is developing serious feelings often wants to understand whether the paths you both want in life could realistically fit together. This doesn't necessarily mean he is making immediate commitments, but it shows that he is thinking beyond the present moment. It's important to recognize that people usually don't invest mental energy into imagining a future with someone unless that person truly matters to them. Visualizing shared experiences requires emotional involvement. When a man starts including you in those mental pictures, it often means his feelings are becoming more meaningful and more serious. These conversations can also create a deeper emotional bond between two people. Talking about dreams, ambitions, and life goals opens the door to understanding each other on a much more personal level. You begin to see not just who someone is today, but who they hope to become in the years ahead. This type of conversation builds a sense of partnership because it allows both people to explore whether their visions of life are compatible. Many women sometimes overlook this signal because the questions may sound casual or lighthearted, but the intention behind them can reveal a lot. When someone repeatedly brings the conversation toward the future and shows interest in your long-term happiness, it usually means they are considering how you might fit into their own life story. When a man asks about your future and starts imagining plans that include you, it reflects something deeper than simple attraction. It shows that he is beginning to think about possibility, connection, and shared direction. And very often, that shift in perspective is one of the quiet but powerful signs that his feelings are moving toward love. When a man begins to develop deeper feelings for a woman, he often becomes curious about the story behind who she is today. Attraction might start with what he sees in the present, but emotional connection grows when he begins to understand the experiences, values, and moments that shaped her life. This is why one important sign of growing love is when he starts asking thoughtful questions about your past and what truly matters to you. At first, these questions might seem simple. He may ask about where you grew up, what your childhood was like, or the people who influenced you most. But the intention behind these questions is usually deeper than casual conversation. When a man is emotionally invested, he wants to understand the journey that formed your personality, your beliefs, and the way you see the world. He might ask about important turning points in your life, moments that changed the direction you were heading, or lessons that helped you grow stronger. These questions are not about curiosity for the sake of entertainment. They often reflect a desire to see the real person behind the surface. He wants to understand what shaped your resilience, what made you wiser, and what helped you become the person he cares about. Another meaningful aspect of these conversations is when he becomes interested in your values. Values are the principles that guide how someone lives their life. They influence decisions, relationships, and long-term priorities. A man who is falling in love often wants to know what you stand for, what you believe in, and what matters most to you. He may ask questions about what loyalty means to you, what kind of relationships you admire, or what qualities you believe are most important in a partner. These conversations help him understand whether your values align with his own. When someone begins imagining a deeper relationship, shared values become very important. They provide the foundation for trust, respect, and long-term compatibility. By learning about your beliefs and experiences, he is quietly exploring whether the two of you could build something meaningful together. You may also notice that he listens carefully when you talk about your past. He doesn't rush to change the subject or dismiss your experiences. Instead, he shows patience and empathy, allowing you to share your story at your own pace. This kind of attentive listening often signals emotional maturity and genuine care. It shows that he respects your experiences and values your perspective. For many people, the past holds both joyful memories and difficult lessons. When a man is emotionally invested, he doesn't only want to hear about the easy parts of your life. He may also show compassion toward the challenges you've faced. This willingness to understand your struggles reflects a deeper level of emotional connection, because it shows he cares about the full picture of who you are. In many ways, asking about your past and your values is a way of building emotional intimacy. It creates a bridge between two people's life stories. As those stories begin to intertwine, trust grows and the relationship gains more depth. When a man shows genuine interest in understanding where you came from and what guides your life, it often reveals that his feelings are becoming more serious. He's no longer just enjoying your company in the moment. He's trying to understand the person behind the smile, the experiences behind your strength, and the values that shape the way you love and live. When a man begins to develop deeper emotional feelings, one of the most meaningful shifts happens in the way he becomes aware of your emotional experience. In the early stages of attraction, many interactions focus on having fun together, sharing laughter, and enjoying each other's company. While these moments are important, they do not always reveal the depth of someone's emotional investment. But when a man starts to care more deeply, he often becomes curious about how you actually feel around him and within the relationship. You may notice him asking questions such as whether you feel comfortable with him, whether you enjoy the time you spend together, or how you feel about the direction things are going. These questions might seem simple, but they carry an important message. They show that your emotional experience matters to him. Instead of only focusing on his own feelings, he wants to understand yours as well. This kind of curiosity often comes from a desire to build emotional safety and connection. When someone is falling in love, they naturally begin to care about how their actions and presence affect the other person. A man who asks how you feel is often trying to ensure that the relationship is positive and meaningful for both of you. He wants to know that you feel valued, respected, and happy in his presence. Another important aspect of these questions is vulnerability. When someone asks about your feelings toward them, they are also quietly exposing their own emotional risk. They are opening the door to hear something honest, which can sometimes feel uncertain or even a little scary. But that willingness to ask shows courage and emotional maturity. It reflects that he cares enough about the relationship to seek clarity rather than avoid it. These conversations can also create a stronger emotional bond. When two people openly talk about their feelings, it builds trust and understanding. You begin to see not only how the other person behaves, but how they truly think and feel about the relationship. A man who invites these conversations is often trying to create a space where both people can be honest about their emotional needs and expectations. You might also notice that he pays close attention to your answers. If you share that something makes you feel appreciated or safe, he may try to continue doing those things. If you express discomfort or concern, he may make an effort to understand and improve the situation. This type of responsiveness is a strong sign of emotional investment because it shows he values your emotional well-being. Many relationships struggle when partners avoid discussing feelings. Silence or assumptions can create misunderstandings and distance. But when a man actively asks about your emotional experience, he is choosing communication instead of guessing. He wants to know the truth about how you feel so he can build a stronger connection. For many women, this sign can sometimes be overlooked because it does not look dramatic or romantic in the traditional sense. However, genuine love often appears in these thoughtful moments of emotional awareness. A man who sincerely asks about your feelings is showing that your heart matters to him. Over time, these conversations help create emotional intimacy, which is one of the strongest foundations of a lasting relationship. When both people feel seen, heard, and understood, the connection naturally becomes deeper and more meaningful. And when a man consistently shows interest in how you feel, it often reveals that his emotions are growing into something much more serious than simple attraction. When a man begins to develop real feelings for a woman, he often becomes genuinely interested in understanding what brings joy and fulfillment into her life. At the beginning of most relationships, people tend to focus on enjoying shared activities and having pleasant experiences together. While this is a natural part of building attraction, deeper emotional connection begins when someone becomes curious about what truly makes the other person happy beyond those shared moments. A man who is falling in love often starts asking questions about the things that light you up inside. He may ask what makes you feel most alive, what kind of experiences bring you the most joy, or what simple things in life make you smile even on difficult days. These questions reveal something important about his mindset. Instead of only focusing on his own happiness in the relationship, he wants to understand how to contribute to yours. This kind of curiosity reflects emotional care and attentiveness. When someone asks about your happiness, they are learning how to support you in ways that matter most to you. Happiness can look very different from one person to another. For some people, it may come from meaningful conversations, creative pursuits, peaceful environments, or spending time with loved ones. By learning about these things, he begins to understand the emotional landscape of your life. You might notice that after asking these questions, he remembers the details you share. For example, if you mention that you enjoy quiet walks, a certain type of music, or visiting particular places, he may later suggest doing those things together. These actions show that he is not only listening, but also making an effort to bring more happiness into your life. Small gestures like this can carry a lot of meaning because they show thoughtful attention. Another important aspect of this behavior is that it reflects empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and care about another person's emotional world. When a man takes time to learn what makes you happy, he is trying to step into your perspective and see life through your eyes. This ability to empathize is one of the strongest foundations for a healthy and supportive relationship. It also shows that he values your individuality. Instead of expecting you to fit into his world in a specific way, he wants to understand your unique interests, passions, and desires. This kind of respect allows both people in a relationship to feel appreciated for who they truly are rather than who they feel pressured to become. Many women sometimes underestimate how meaningful these questions can be because they appear simple. However, someone who truly cares about your happiness is usually thinking about the long-term quality of the relationship. They want to know how to create experiences that make you feel fulfilled, appreciated, and emotionally supported. Over time, this focus on your happiness can strengthen the connection between two people. When both partners understand what brings joy into each other's lives, they are better able to create a relationship that feels nurturing and balanced. Love is not only about attraction or excitement, it is also about the consistent effort to care for another person's well-being. When a man genuinely wants to know what makes you happy and shows interest in those answers, it often signals that his feelings are becoming deeper. He is no longer just enjoying your presence in his life. He is actively trying to understand how to make your life brighter, which is often one of the clearest signs that love is beginning to grow. Love rarely announces itself with dramatic declarations in the beginning. More often, it reveals itself through small patterns of curiosity and care. The questions a man asks can quietly show you how much space you are beginning to occupy in his heart and in his mind. When he wants to understand your dreams, your past, your feelings, and the things that bring you happiness, it often means he is no longer just enjoying your presence, he is investing in knowing the real you. These kinds of questions create deeper conversations, stronger emotional bonds, and a sense that the connection is moving beyond surface attraction. Of course, no single question proves that someone is in love. But when you consistently see this level of thoughtful curiosity, it often reflects growing emotional attachment. A man who is truly falling for you doesn't just want to be around you, he wants to understand your world. And when someone cares enough to understand your world, that's often where real love begins to take root.